Well, hi everybody. This is Adam Collingwood here, and today it's the 3rd of January 2024, so start of a new year. And what I'm going to do is a video every day, and just plotting all the moves on the DAX, what's been going on, and how you can take advantage of these moves to become very profitable with your trading. So let's get started here. What we're looking at is the DAX chart and the DAX Income Optimizer strategy. So you can see at the top here, it's a 1-minute chart that we're looking at the moment. I have a number of different indicators at the top here which I can use. Everything is plotted on the chart and what I've actually programmed in here for many years now. So what at the top is the price action and some moving averages on here. The super trend indicators, and also the awesome oscillator, rock and roll, OBV, which is on balance volume, and the directional movement index, which is supporting price action up here. So what we want to do is just look at the entries that were available today for you to trade. And this is the first one, which was 7:23 for any of you that get out of bed early in the morning. That's 7:23 UK time, 8:23 German time. So we saw on the 1-minute chart, the price is just moving sideways as you'd expect before the market was opening. And then we got this breakout here through Super Trend 510. And once that's actually crossed there, that gives us an opportunity to buy the DAX. And then we've got a stop down here below the 50-200 moving average. So we want the stop to be below these previous candles here, the closed ones. So the entry was here. So if we look inside the box there, so as it's crossing through at 16,736, so entering there as it's crossing through. And of course, the reason for using the trend indicators here is to stay in the trade as long as possible until we either reach our take profit target, which is up here, or until the price starts to cross back down again. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what happened when we got the buy signal here. If you look at the awesome oscillator, everything was above the 0 line, so that's supporting that move. Everything was green, so buy on the rock and roll. The on balance volume, there wasn't really much volume at all in when the market opened. There was still enough to make this move this morning. And then of course at 8 o'clock when the London Stock Exchange opened, we had that big candle there that took it all the way up to pivot. If we look down at the bottom there, though, we can see the DMI was all green, indicating buys as well. So this is all the supporting evidence for this particular move. There's a price action. These are the supporting indicators which we want to see on there, so we get all our ducks in a row. The other thing is as well is that the price was above this 50-200 smoothing average, which I always like to see on there rather than it being below. So that's another thing I look at. I want to have as much evidence as possible before I take the trade on. So this was the buy signal here. So if you'd got in around this level, around 16,736, okay, you might have got in at 16,738, just so that's okay if you just miss it by a couple of pips there. But you just want to take that entry, and you can see it just moved sideways for a while until we got closer to the 8 o'clock open on the London Stock Exchange. Now, of course, that would have pushed the FTSE 100 up, but we're focusing here on the DAX, and they tend to kind of mirror each other anyway. So you could have taken some profit at the top, 16,736. So there was about 50 pips on the table for you. Pound a point, that's £50. £10 a point, £500. Depending on what level you're trading at, because this is a day trading strategy. So whether you're day trading your own personal account or whether you're trading a discretionary account with companies like O and others, which has provided massive opportunities for people now to be able to trade much bigger accounts and to benefit from generating a very tasty income for themselves if they become very profitable and are making money for those companies. So that was a nice start to the day. Then what we had is this reversal. So though it hit that point, potentially what we could see is a reversal coming back. So we're keeping an eye on these movements. Now Now, potentially, some people like pivot trading. They'll sell from pivot, and that would have been a great place to sell from up here once it had hit that target, and you can see it didn't get any higher. So in terms of risk reward, you could have taken a small risk and sold from that point with a stop here around about the 16,801 mark. We've got all the numbers on there, so we know where the price has hit before. So it did come down, and then it came back up again here, back closer to pivot, and then it started to sell off. So had you not sold at pivot, you've got another opportunity where you could have sold just as it was crossing. Sometimes you can sell just as it's crossing the super trend 310 there, but this was still above the 50-200 smoothing average. So I'm always quite keen to wait for this to actually cross and just be a little bit more patient and wait for it to cross through super trend and get below this 50-200, which, as I keep pointing to at the top there, is this red dotted line here. Okay, so what we're looking at again, we're seeing that this is below the zero line on the awesome oscillator. Okay, so above, below, great, that's one duck in a row. This has all started to turn red on the rock and roll, meaning sell. That's another duck in a row. And again here on the directional movement index, that's also gone below the zero line, and that's red as well. Now, what you can also see here though, is that on the on-balance volume indicator, that's starting to pick up now, and it's crossed below this 100 EMA. I always like it to have the average of the last 100 on here of that volume, so that I can see what that average volume has been over the last 101 minutes. Okay, and that's below this line. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. So as the price action is falling, this is also being shown in the on-balance volume there. And you can also see as this continues, everything stays red, everything stays below the zero line here, everything's red on rock and roll. So we stay in the trade. And of course, importantly, the price of the DAX continues to fall and stay below the 510 super trend. So we stay in the trade from a sell here at 16,745, and look what happens. It drops all the way to 16,626, got 16,632, moved up again here to 16,652, and then it came back to that level again at 6 points just below it there. So it hadn't dropped towards the target point, which is at this stage at 16,594. But what we do here is, if we're selling at that 16,746, we want to close the trade here at 16,656. So from there, what we're talking about is a nice 80-point profit, 80 plus points profit there. Okay, just from here. So if you'd taken that 16,741 and closed the trade, you could have taken 115 pips there. Okay, but you didn't know that it was going to start to climb from 16,626. It could have continued to fall further. So if you're happy to take 100 pips, that's absolutely fine. But with the strategy, we don't know how long this is going to move for, but eventually it starts to cross up through super trend. And guess what we do see here is it then goes from below the zero line in the awesome oscillator to above. This starts to go green, and the directional movement indicator also shows green there. So this is showing you why you would get out at that stage. But we're staying in the trade all of this time to allow it to do its thing, give it enough wriggle room to move. So you can still see you've got like a green candle there, and then it drops again, then a couple more green candles, then it drops again. But we stay patiently in the trade, and then we close at that point there. So at 16,655. Yeah, you've got about 90 pips there. All right, from entry, sell there, and then close there. And that's adding to the buy trade that you would have done earlier. Okay, so it's a nice day here of trading from buying to then selling. Okay, as I say, some of you may have sold at pivot and put a small amount of risk on here in case it just pushed up through, hit this pivot level, but nice little sell from there. But if you just followed the trend as it started to fall through the super trend indicator, then you would have still made a very tidy sum. And 90 pips at £1 a point, that's £90. At £10 a point, £900. Then what do we see next? You could have taken a little trade here. So just as this is crossing up, you could have taken one there. So for going from selling to buying, or just waited here. Now again, word of caution is, what I do know is this is still very much in a downward trend. So this has been making lower highs and lower lows. Okay. So if we looked at this on, say, a 5-minute chart, you would have definitely seen that happen. And in this case, on a 1-minute chart, you're going to see the market will push it up slightly as it's done here, and then it puts the brakes on at this point. So you could have possibly just made some money. Again, we're being very disciplined as to when we execute the trade, when we get in, and then when we get out. So we close the trade there. We're not really made much at all. And it may be about 14, 15 pips. If you bought there, then you would have closed just slightly at a loss there if you got out there or there. So it all depends on how much wiggle room you want, and that's at your discretion. However, we like to keep the stops as small as possible. So an entry at that point, so you can see where it's above the zero line, that screen would have been absolutely fine, on the premise that we are still in like a downward trend, and this is just purely part of that downward trend cycle. All right, so here it comes all the way back down again on this one. So this is at 11.15. This is a beautiful move, this one. So it's still below the 5200 moving average. We are looking for a sell, although we could have had a little nibble there at this to try and get a few pips on the way back up. And then we're looking really very much for that downward trend to continue. So a sell here at 16,669 when everything went back below the zero line there, 11.14. Actually, I was coaching somebody at that time, so we were looking at that that trade at 11.14, and then a sell there. And then what you'll also see as this is falling is the ADX. This is the strength of the selling. Okay, so as that rises, that's either a strength in buying or selling, but in this case it's a strength of selling. So we can see it's rising from, I plot on here a 20 level. So when it rises above 20, it's got to 54 there. So that shows real volume of selling. And then we can see on the price action how that is mirrored it. Okay, so that you could have either sold there at 16,669 or 16,654, and it's dropped down. It's dropped down to 16,603, and then it's just started to move sideways, and then a little bit further down to 16,578. So this stayed below the zero line on the awesome oscillator from 11.14 all the way through to 12.50. So you would have profited from pips, from making pips just from here or here. If you'd entered at 16,667, it dropped again by over 80 pips, and you would have got all of that profit. So if you'd stayed in the trade, you would have got out as the price crossed back up. You could either got out there, or if you wanted to give it a little bit more wiggle room, you could have got out just here. Okay, so this was just at, this was just in the morning today. So some really lovely moves. And what I want you to do is just see how these indicators mirror what the price action is doing, and why these trend indicators are so important when you're looking to stay in a trade and just keep milking that profit as it's moving. Here is another one. So again, it's still with the 1 minute chart, it's still below the 5200 smoothing average there. Then at 143, the price starts to drop again below the zero line, goes red on rock and roll, and all red on the DMI, the directional movement indicator, and of course it's then crossed below the 100 EMA, which is just following the price action, showing real volume there. All right. And the ADX, of course, started rising again at that point. So another sell at 16,611. And you can be fooled into thinking, okay, well, it's already sold off enough now. It's not going to go much further. And then it had already dropped to like 600 area. Is it going to come down further? Of course it does. And we just follow the strategy, the DAX income optimizer strategy that I created. So this has all been put together to just milk profit from the market. All right. So sell here, 16,612, sold at that point, you stay in the trade. Is there any time that you would come out? No. Even here, it just goes above on the oscillator, but it's still below. Super trend 510 continues to drop from up here, as you got there. So if you got in on that one, 16,611, and it continued to drop all the way down to 16,476. Had a little move up there, a few green buying candles, and then it comes back and tests 16,480 before we started to see it lift again. So had you taken profit down there from up here, 16,611, you'd have got over 120 pips. Okay, if you'd taken it there, if you'd got out at this point here, 16,516 from up here, you're still looking at a very tidy profit. So it's anywhere between 90 to 120 pips. So if it was 90 pips at £1 a point, that's another £90 banked. Or if it was £10 a point, another £900 banked there. All right. Then, as we may expect to happen, we're going to get a little bit of a rally. It could have even sold off even more. We just have to trade the strategy. But you can see here a buy at 15.59. It moves up. So from 16.515, away she goes. Continues to rise up to 16.570. Okay, and that was at 6.17. And then it's just moved sideways since then, but we'd already finished for the day back here. Okay, so this has been another great day on the DAX, again following the trend indicator, just to make sure that you get in and execute those trades at the right point. You don't have any bias to buying or selling. You just take the opportunities as they arise. So it's all about following the price action, making sure your indicators just support that as well. At the top here, we can maximize the panel so you can just see clearly without even looking at the indicators these lovely moves, okay, and how you could have just banked a lot of money from those today. And at the moment, the price is at 16,527. So the time now is 8:24. So I just wanted to record this and just let you know how well we did today. And I'll do another video tomorrow. All right. If you've got any questions, then just make comments in the video below. If you've not subscribed to the channel and you want to make sure that you see the videos on a daily basis, then please subscribe to the channel for more education and training. If you want to speak to me personally, you can book coaching sessions somewhere in the description below. If you do like this, then please like the video. I think it does something to the algorithms with YouTube and helps more people become aware of these videos. All right. I'm signing off now, and have a good evening, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.